Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown, Life of a Spiritual Nomad. My name is Wes Coons, and welcome back to the show. Hey, it's a couple days before Christmas, so Merry Christmas. We actually say Merry Christmas on this show. And I tell you what, 2024 is coming to an end, and I am grateful for all the lessons that came in for 2024 because there were a lot of them. And fuck, they were painful. However, they're not as painful as they could be if you know how to maneuver through them. We talk about this on the show all the time. And you can't do that if you're not willing. You can't do that if you're not willing to look at yourself and say, hey man, gosh, I'm part of the problem. What did I bring to the table? Somebody told me one time, they said, everything that goes on in your life, especially if it's negative, you need to look at what you bring to the table. And I remember thinking, oh, that's bullshit, man. I did my job. I didn't do anything wrong. And the reality is that's not true. There is something there, a little crack, a little seed, a little something that allowed that to come in. And I am responsible for my own energy. And I am responsible for what comes into my life. And I tell you what, since I've adopted that philosophy, since I look at what I bring to the table every day, I look at everything every day with a fine-tooth comb. And man, I tell you what, I'm grateful that I do that today. Because here we are, I don't know, what's today's date, like the 23rd of December, 2024. Yeah, normally this time of year, I'm really, really uncomfortable and sad. And I'm not this year. There's been some moments, but if you go back and look at my year, my brother died, both my dogs died, I lost this relationship that, I just got caught up in. I was in the hospital multiple times. It was a mess of a year for me. However, every one of those had an opportunity for growth. The one with my brother, I gotta be honest, I'm still kind of struggling a little bit on what that opportunity might be. Maybe at the end of the day, it was just time for Dennis to go to heaven, and there's a reflection there for Wes to look at. Where am I at? He just turned 55, he was 62, and am I doing enough, right? That's always a question that I have. Am I doing enough? So at 55 years old, I find myself questioning, what's next? What am I supposed to do? And one of the things I've learned is if I get real quiet, turn off social media, turn off the TV, and allow myself to just think, feel, and be, I get messages from the divine all the time. One of the messages I received this week was for me to do God's Kitchen. So I don't like the name Soup Kitchen. To me, you know what, that just seems negative, and I don't know. I just don't like the name of it. So when I was thinking, I'm like, well, we'll call it God's Kitchen. And in my mind, I'm like, well, we'll never get that website address. That's got to be taken. And funny thing is, godskitchen.org was not taken. So guess who owns it now? I'm in the midst of putting that together. I don't know what it's going to look like. And that's what blind faith is I don't need to know what it looks like. What I need to do is follow God's word, right? I need to follow the universe, and they're telling me, hey, here's an idea. We saved this website address for you. And by the way, we're going to make it really, really easy. So if it's really, really easy, it's what I'm supposed to be doing. So we'll figure out the details. Right now, there's just a coming soon page at godskitchen.org. And we're going to be looking for donations and stuff in the future. And my vision so far has been having a center where we cook food. We have trucks that ship it out to different cities and different places in this market, in the Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads market, and take it to different churches where they feed people in their neighborhood. So I think it's going to be great. 1 out of 10 families in this market don't know where their next meal's coming from. And that's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me. The government gives away billions of dollars to people in other countries, but we have people here, Americans, we have, families, we have human beings that don't know where their next meal is coming from. Frickin' pisses me off. So, you know me, I'm going to do something about it. So it's going to be fun. And I am looking forward to that project going and starting in 2025. My good friend Brett Thompson at Thompson Law Group, he is going to help us do the paperwork. He's a great attorney. He does real estate closings, does all kinds of stuff, financial planning. So Brett, thank you, brother. I love you. I appreciate it. My buddy Brian Cavanaugh is the #1 trainer in the world at One Life Fitness. Brian, he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be behind it. So when I ask him, he's going to say yes. So Brian, hey, brother, thanks for your support. And it's going to be really, really fun. So here we are, a couple days before Christmas, and I decided to tune in to the listeners. So I did a little, I call hippie shit. I connected with you guys and you ladies, and I could feel, let's be honest, I could feel your pain, all right? And I just want you to know that you are loved and that you are important and that you are needed. And the sadness that you have will pass. And if you're sitting there saying, hey, man, I'm on a high, I'm doing a really good time, I'm doing really, really well right now, I am so excited for you. But I want you to remember, when that time passes, it'll come back. Trinae told me a long time ago, hey, if you're having a great day, don't worry, that'll change. If you're having a bad day, don't worry, that'll change. And I remember when she told me that the first time, I'm like, oh, you're being negative. And she's like, honey, I'm not being negative. It's called life. We have ups and downs, a scale from 1 to 10. I still operate in the 1 to 10 range. As much as I'd like not to, operating from 4 to 6 range is much easier. I'm working on that. I am working through those things. I am looking at what I bring to the table. I'm looking at who I'm spending time with. And for me, I'm getting quiet and listening to God's word. And maybe that's something you don't feel called to. Maybe you like to call it the universe. Maybe you want to call it whatever you want. I don't fucking care what you call it. But for me, it's God. And listening to what he says, I'll be honest, brother, I don't do that all the time. And it gets painful. And it's like he sits back eating popcorn with Archangel Michael sitting there saying, hey, watch this fucking fool. He's going to do it his way. We'll see him in 6 weeks. Or here comes some girl that he knows, that Wes knows he shouldn't be hanging out with. Let's see what that looks like in 6 months. And I come back all beat the fuck up. And I'm trying not to do that these days, right? I'm tired. I am tired of trying to do it my way. And so I'm doing things different. So one of the fun things I've been doing recently is doing these group healings. So, I've been doing some on Zoom. You're going to hear more about that. I've been doing some in person. I did a group healing with my friend Beth Rose the other day. And she started a meditation out, and halfway through I came in and finished it up. It was really, really cool. So I'm feeling super confident in my long distance healing and group sessions, because at the end of the day, I know at some point I'm going to be healing thousands of people at a time through Zoom and some of the projects that we're putting together. And it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun doing God's work and healing all these people long distance. So you're going to see some of that coming up soon. I did a cord cutting ceremony and recorded it on YouTube, I think on November 9th. You can also find it on Instagram. So YouTube, it's VB Healer. Instagram is VB Healer. And if you don't know what cord cutting is, you have an energetic cord connection to everybody you've ever talked to. Every school teacher, police officer, cashier, checkout person, whatever. So I call the energy of that up. I command it to show everything that is less than unconditional love, and we cut and remove that. and it's really, really powerful. So go on YouTube if you want to experience that. It's like 2.5 minutes long. Save that, go to Instagram, find it, save it. So when you go out and come home from a long weekend and you just feel like you got too much energy on you, play the recording. Let me cut that energy off for you. It's really powerful, 100% free, and it's a gift. It's a gift for people. I want to see you feel better. So if you're not feeling great today, find that. It's VB Healer on YouTube and VB Healer on Instagram. And I think you're going to like it. I noticed today, just out driving around doing stuff, people blowing horns at each other and acting like a fool. This is the time of year that we should be in gratitude, that we should take a breath. And I understand it's difficult, and I understand Uncle Tom and Frank are coming over. You might not like them. I've got the same stuff too. But our energy is our responsibility, not theirs. And yes, I understand what they said was real. I understand what they did was not right. But it's your choice. They can rent space in your head and ruin your holiday, or you can just sit there and say, well, Uncle Timmy hasn't changed. I'm going to turn an eye and just send them some love and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to step in the restroom and do some quick little prayers. And God, take that away from Uncle Tim. Help him become the person that he's supposed to be. Be in gratitude that you have a home to be in right now, that you have food on the table, that you have family around, even if maybe they're not the best people that you want to hang around with, because there's people on this podcast that don't have anything, right? So Christmas for me, I'm going to be sitting at home with Abigail. It's me and her, and Abby's my German Shepherd. She is just turning into being such a good dog. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I'm not sad about it. So that is a lot of work for me to have gotten to that point. I even put up a Christmas tree. You'd be proud of me. I put up a Christmas tree this year, first time in 6 years, and that was a lot, and I wanted to. So I know I'm healing. I know I'm changing things, and it's a work in progress. I said when I did this show that I'm going to be real. I was real last episode talking about Andrea and I, and we had a really nice conversation last night, and she's back from Jamaica having a great time, and she's going to work on her projects, and I'm going to work on mine. I think we're going to have some future stuff coming up down the line. Right now, it's just going to be me on the podcast. So, Andrea, if you're listening, we love you. We miss you. And you need to check out her podcast. She just did her season finale of How Good It Can Get for season 1. So that was really, really cool. And I think she has some really powerful guest speakers coming on here soon. Listen to that. She is excellent at what she does. And if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be doing this podcast right this second. I will be recording the 21-day episode here, I don't know, in the next couple of days. I just haven't felt the energy right to do that yet. And if you remember from the show, the 21 days is that 21 days I had to wait after Lakota did the rebirthing ceremony to see if it worked. And I got to be honest, it was, God, that was a messed up time. That was a seriously messed up time. But I'm not there anymore. 5-6 years ago, I was just coming out of that stuff right about now, and I was getting ready to take my first Reiki course in January, trying to figure out who I'm going to be and what life's going to look like. And I was terrified. I was freaking broken. And it's weird looking back to where I was then till now. I'm just curious to see what life's going to look like in 6 months, because I know there's some really, really big things coming down the road, and it's going to be super fun. But I just wanted to jump on here and tell you, you're important. And the story that you're telling yourself isn't fucking true. Our feelings are lies. Our feelings are based off of past trauma experiences, And that's not what's real now. It's not true. You can change your life in a moment if you choose to do so. My book, The 15-Minute Transformation, is one of the tools that you have. You can find it on Amazon. There's plenty of programs out there that you can connect with, but it starts with taking responsibility for your thoughts, feelings, and actions. I know for me, coming to the realization that what happened to me as a child, being molested, was horrible. It was real. It was a lot. It was a legitimate event. But for me, looking at, I made it my life story. It wasn't my life story. It was a sentence or a paragraph or a chapter in the book of Wes Coons. And when Trinae told me, she said, honey, you can change your story. I'm like, I want to change my fucking story, dude. And I'm changing that. If you're hearing this message, don't feel I'm disrespecting what happened to you. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we can take our power back by acknowledging that happened. It was real. It's not going to define me anymore, and start moving forward. And if you need help with that, find me on Instagram. Find me at vbhealer.com. Find me at vbhealer anywhere, and feel free to ask questions. I'll talk you through that. I'll help you out. Because we take turns saving each other in this life. And like we like to say all the time, I can't walk through hell for you, but I can walk through it with you. And fuck, I know the shortcut, man. We can cut that time period off. We can take that traumatic event and reduce it significantly. And that's what part of what are we going in? Season 3 is going to be about. And as we move forward, that's what this show is about. I'm excited. I just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I appreciate you. I respect you. I love you guys. I'll see you here real soon on Enlightenment Unknown, Life of a Spiritual Nomad. Have a great Christmas.